Welcome back to Darkvision 13, where nightmares come to life. Tonight, I've got 3 terrifying horror stories that will chill you to the bone. These aren't just tales, they're warnings. As you listen, imagine yourself in each moment. Would you survive? And when the stories are over, I want to hear from you which one scared you the most. Drop your answer in the comments below, because your voice shapes what horrors I bring next. Now, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and let's begin. I'm beginning to think this job might be cursed. It started out pretty normally. I saw the ad for a night shift security guard at this huge warehouse on the outskirts of town. Seemed like an easy job, just standing around making sure no one breaks in. Only problem was it was at an old abandoned prison. Didn't think much of it. I mean, how many people are gone, try and break into a prison that actively being used as a warehouse? Turns out quite a few, actually. The first night I clocked in, there were 3 guys trying to saw through the front gate with a bunch of old car parts. I yelled at them to stop and they ran off. Then this big black van tried driving through the gate. I had to jump out and stop it because it was 10 tons of metal. Turns out the driver had just forgotten his keys inside the warehouse and he was going back to get them. That was weird, but whatever. About 10 minutes later, I heard screams in the distance. Big guttural screams. I checked my radio, but nothing was coming through. Checked the cameras, but it was too dark to see anything. And then I heard footsteps. Big, heavy footsteps, coming closer and closer. I grabbed my gun and hid behind some boxes until the coast was clear. Then I called my boss. Hey, listen, you got someone over there with you?
Yeah. Everything's fine. Just don't go outside. There's some construction going on outside the warehouse, and I don't want you to get hurt.
Okay, I said, but I didn't buy it for a second. I sat there listening intently. The footsteps stopped right outside the door, and then I heard what sounded like furniture being dragged across the floor. Whatever was out there definitely wasn't a person. I stayed crouched behind the boxes until my shift was over, and then I ran out to my car and drove home. Next day, I told my friends about it, and they thought it was hilarious. They were a bunch of college kids who didn't have any real jobs. I knew they wouldn't understand how scared I was, so the next time I clocked in, I brought my taser. Same story as the first night. 3 guys trying to break in, big van trying to smash the door down, and then those damn footsteps again. But this time I was ready. As soon as the footsteps started, I turned the lights on, and out the door came a big-ass spider. It was hairy and fat and looked like it wanted to kill me. I zapped it with my taser, and it ran off. After that, I went back to my post and waited for morning. I was so relieved when my shift ended, I practically sprinted to my car. I got out of there so fast that I almost hit a guy walking out of the warehouse. He was tall and skinny, with greasy hair and a torn-up shirt. And as he walked past me, he said, "Don't quit. We need someone to sacrifice at midnight." Then he disappeared around the corner. Now, I don't believe in any of that spooky, scary crap, but something about this place was really starting to freak me out. I decided I needed to check out the place during the day to see if there was any logical explanation for what was happening. So I went back during the day to check it out. Sure enough, there were giant footprints all over the floor, and the walls were covered with big scratches. Whoever or whatever was in there was big. And then I noticed something else. All the cameras were facing the ground, and there were blind spots everywhere. This place was set up to keep an eye on the workers. It wasn't set up for security. And that's when it hit me. The night shift workers were the prisoners, and the prison hadn't been abandoned at all. It was still in use. I ran out of there so fast. My boss hasn't figured out I quit yet. Maybe I should go back. Could probably make a lot of money suing that place. Nah, it's probably not worth it. Those prison walls are really tall. And if the guards are willing to let some dude with a gun in there, I'd be no match for them. Besides, I hear the place is haunted. When Emma's family moved into the old house on Maplewood Lane, the realtor had warned her about the basement. "It's damp down there, not really livable," he said with a half smile. But Emma wasn't worried. She was just happy they could finally afford a place of their own. On the second night, she heard it, a faint scratching beneath the floorboards, followed by a soft, pitiful whimper. At first, she thought it was a stray, caught somewhere under the porch.
Mom, do you hear that?
Probably rats. Don't go down there.
But the next evening, the crying was louder. It wasn't the sharp squeak of rodents. It was a puppy. The basement door groaned open, exhaling a wave of cold, earthy air. She flicked the switch. The single bulb overhead buzzed weakly, casting shadows on the crumbling stone walls.
Hello? Puppy!
She crouched, peeking around, and there it was.
Oh, you poor thing.
As her fingers brushed his head, she froze.
I'm so hungry.
She screamed and stumbled back, but when she bolted up the stairs and slammed the basement door shut, the whimpering began again. And every night since, it calls to her. A little louder, a little closer to the stairs.
I was living alone for the first time in a 2-bedroom apartment. The bedrooms were separated by a Jack and Jill bathroom. One bedroom had a large closet with a mirrored door, and the other had built-in shelves and drawers. Both rooms were empty. As soon as I moved in, the weirdness started. It wasn't anything major, just little things like lights flickering or lights turning themselves on. In the middle of the day, when I was out of the apartment. At night, the lights would randomly turn off and on in both of the empty bedrooms. I tried blaming it on drafts, faulty wiring, or mice, but I never caught any of those things in the act. And sometimes it was just too obvious for me to not notice. One night, I was studying in the living room. I had the overhead light and the lamps on. It was around 11 p.m. and I was on a break, when all of the lights flickered and went out. I thought, okay, power outage. I checked my phone. It said 11:02 p.m. Okay, it's only been 2 minutes. Don't worry, it will be back soon. However, 5 minutes turned into half an hour, and still no lights. I grabbed my phone and some flashlights, and headed into the empty bedroom to check the breaker box. There were no lights on anywhere in the apartment building. My neighbors must be asleep by now. I thought it would be funny if I yelled, "Boo," to my neighbor through the wall, just to make sure. I stopped yelling, "Boo," after C, because I did, and want to wake them up. I flipped the switch back on, and everything came on, except the lights in the empty bedroom. I was going to go back to my room and wait it out, until suddenly, I saw a dark figure standing in front of the closet door in the empty bedroom. I screamed and ran to my room. I called my friend and told her about it. She laughed and said, "That's not funny, Jenny. Just go check the breaker box again." So I did. Everything seemed fine. Figured it must have just been a branch or something hitting the power line outside. I walked past the empty bedroom and into the hallway, when I saw the lights flicker again. I ran back into the empty bedroom, and looked back down the hallway. I could have sworn I saw a man standing in the doorway. I couldn't see his face, because he was shrouded in darkness, but it looked like he was wearing a hat. The next day, I got home from work early. I couldn't stop thinking about the creepy old man I saw last night. I decided to clean out the empty bedroom and closet, so I could take a break from the creepiness. While I was dusting, I noticed some loose wallpaper. When I peeled it away, I found a hollow space behind it. I pushed my finger into the hole and felt around. It was a small cavity about 6 inches deep. I took the corner of the wallpaper and pulled it out more. The whole thing came off. I looked inside and found a black smudge mark where my finger had been. I took a closer look at it and realized it was a handprint. Later that night, I was watching TV, and I heard footsteps in the apartment above me. I could clearly hear high heels clicking across the wooden floor. Then I heard what sounded like a woman's voice whispering directly into my ear. I jumped and turned around. Of course, there was no one there. I looked out the window and saw a woman standing on the fire escape. I don't live on the first floor. She waved and smiled at me. I quickly closed the window and locked it. I decided to call my friend again. She came over and we watched TV together until about 4 a.m. Nothing happened, so we went to bed. The next morning, I woke up and remembered the dream I had last night. I was in the same bedroom, in the same closet where the handprint had been. It was dark, musty, and smelled like mildew. Then I heard the same whisper in my ear. "Jenny," she said. "Jenny," I replied. I don't know why I did that. It was a stupid thing to say. But then the closet door opened and the smell became stronger. I backed away as a bony, wrinkled hand reached out and grabbed my arm. I screamed, woke up, and found myself tangled in my sheets. I was sweating and my heart was racing. I told my friend about my dream and she suggested that I should put a camera in the closet to catch whatever was going on. For the next few days, I walked around on eggshells, always looking over my shoulder. Every time I heard a noise, I imagined it was the old man creeping closer to my room. Finally, I snapped and went to the store to buy a camera. I set up the camera in the closet and placed it on top of the wardrobe, pointing towards the closet door. I didn't want to set it up too obviously. I didn't want whatever was in there to know that I was watching. I didn't even bother to hide the cord. I plugged it into my laptop and left the room. Later that night, I was watching a movie in my room when the screen suddenly went blank. Ran to the closet to check the camera and it was unplugged. I didn't unplug it. I remember checking it twice. Angry, I decided to leave the camera plugged in and go to the kitchen to finish my dinner. I had been watching the monitor for hours without seeing anything, so I was getting bored. Besides, it was 3 a.m. and I had school in the morning. I decided to go to bed and see if anything showed up on the camera during the night. I woke up at 8 a.m., not long after my alarm went off. I stumbled into the kitchen and grabbed a cup of coffee. I walked back to my room and sat down in front of the computer. Nothing. All I saw was the closet door. Disappointed, I decided to check the footage from the night before. At about 3 a.m., the closet door began to open slowly. I couldn't see what was behind the door, but I could see the wall to the left of it begin to darken. The wall darkened further as something began moving across it. I watched in horror as a pale, hairy arm extended from the closet and began to push against the wall. It continued moving until it reached the edge of the frame. I tried to move the frame so I could see more, but it was too late. The camera blinked and the image was lost. I immediately pressed play and watched as the wall once again became lighter. The arm disappeared. I checked the timestamp on the video. It had happened less than an hour after I left the room. I don't know what it was, but it was definitely not human. I posted this on Reddit because I needed help explaining it. I didn't know where else to turn. A lot of people said it was probably just a trick of the light. Some said maybe it was a mouse crawling across the wall. But I know it was neither of those things. Why did it run across the wall? Why didn't it continue running after it hit the light? And if it was just a trick of the light, why didn't it appear again after the light came back on? Other people said it was a poltergeist. Or some kind of demon. They said that it was trying to communicate with me and that I should try talking to it. People also suggested that I should start a seance or invite a priest over. I tried playing nice. I told it I wasn't scared, and that it could come out whenever it wanted. I even asked it what it wanted, but nothing happened. I don't know what else to do. I'm at my wit's end here. I can't take it anymore. I'm moving out tomorrow. I really hope that wherever it came from, it goes with me. If it does, I'll post another update. After posting, I received a message from someone named Jessica. Mel, she said that she lived in the same apartment complex. And that she also had a run-in with whatever it is that was haunting the apartment. She said it must have followed me when I moved out because the same thing started happening in her apartment. She said that she would keep me updated. I waited anxiously for a reply. A few days later, I received another message from Jessica. She said she wanted to show me something. She attached a video file to the message. It was shot on her cell phone and showed a dark, narrow hallway. The hallway appeared to be in the basement. Jessica walked down the hallway and stopped. She shone her flashlight onto a cracked concrete block wall. In the beam of light, I could see a small indentation in the wall, almost like a handprint. She ran her fingers along it and made a face. Jessica turned the camera towards her and whispered, "I found something strange while I was looking for the breaker box in the basement. I wanted to show you because I think this may be connected to what you've been experiencing in your apartment." I tried touching it, but my fingers got stuck and wouldn't come out. I yanked my hand back and it left this weird residue on my skin. "Come see it." Jessica turned the camera back to the wall and held up her hand. On her palm was a black smudge mark, exactly like the one in my closet. We arranged to meet the next day and compare notes. I knew I wasn't crazy. This was more than just a simple haunting. Whatever this was, it was something dark and evil, so its intelligence took it, knew we were onto it, and it was trying to scare us away. As soon as I saw the wall, I knew it was the same thing. We stood there staring at it until Jessica broke the silence. Do you think it's trying to tell us something? I didn't respond. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to upset her, but I couldn't help myself. I don't think it wants us here. I think it wants us